I would have never in a million years done what Barsha was trying to do. Guys, what's up? This is going to be a breakdown of round 6. So this is Indy number 3. Real quick before I get into this, excuse the mic. It should sound good, I think. We'll see. But it's just what I have for this video. It might look silly with me holding it like this, but don't mind it. Don't really even care, honestly, what this video looks like with me in the corner. Not too concerned with that. I just want to get a lot of confusion out of the way with some of the highlights from the night. I think for you guys, this is going to be the most informational breakdown you could get on a Supercross race. So whether you're somebody that's really, really into the sport and you're maybe confused about certain things, or you possibly have a strong opinion on certain things, I'm going to just tell you exactly where all these situations stand, why they happen. If you're just a casual viewer, this might make more sense for you. If you really just don't know what you're looking at. So don't know how they're gonna do this. This is a 250 main event right here, I think. Yeah. Okay, so this is right before Nichols' crash, so I'll just break down his crash really quick. The dirt, being that it's 3 rounds, this is what gets really interesting. So the dirt is ridden, then it's worked with machinery, then it's ridden more, then it's worked with machines even more. This is the 3rd race in a row in Indy. I've never seen the dirt like this in Indy, but we've never had 3 races in a row at Indy. So it actually dried out quite a bit. When you saw the machines working with it, it was like dust. So it just had a really, really loose top layer, which made situations like this pretty easy to get yourself into a spot like this that Colt did. So the face of that double in was rutted, but it wasn't that rutted. The face of the table over 2, where he's crashed right there on the ground, was pretty bad. So this was all caused by where he decided to stand up. Now, let's just watch that one more time. So he comes out of the turn, he goes to stand right here. Look at where his knees are. I mean, all of that's somewhat normal to stand on the face of a jump. I just think the timing of it, considering lack of traction, is what caused the crash. Now, there are times in Supercross where you guys will do, not you guys, we will do stuff that's a little bit odd like this, standing up last second. I always recommend for pretty much anybody watching this that if you're going to seat bounce the jump, you stay on the seat the whole way, you don't stand up. If you're going to stand up, make sure you've already stood long before you get to the obstacle. This is the danger of standing last second, in that he's right at the bottom of the face and then he decides to stand, so it takes all of the traction off the rear tire, puts all of the weight over the front end, and that's just what tosses him off like that. He actually got really lucky that he skid across the top of the tabletop, and also lucky that he didn't get landed. He had enough of a gap behind him that no one jumped on top of him. Now, this section was interesting to watch Colt. So I was opting to do exactly what he's doing here, which is in this section, I knew right from walking the track, I'm like, okay, tight left-hand turn into it is going to really entice people to go inside. And then with a flat turn after it, oh, and now they're jumping around like crazy. And a flat turn after it, no one's going to want to skim these things because there's no reason to, almost, because you'd have to go inside before and then you'd have to go inside after. So just by walking the track, I knew that these were going to mostly turn into jumpers. But as the night went on, skimming them, if you could get stopped soon enough, was pretty quick. Where Colt was making the mistake is that he was trying to stay on the gas all the way through, and then he was going outside in the corner after. He would lose so much time. He would gain it when he double over the takeoff of the beginning of that section and then go on off. So it was actually a little quicker in the rhythm, but I don't think it was quick enough to compensate for how much time he would lose in this turn. And they might show a highlight of that later on. Okay, now this is where things get interesting. So of course we all have a ton of Jet Lawrence fans. I'm a big Jet Lawrence fan. But what he did with this battle with Colt, if I was Colt, I would have been really, really mad. I'm sure Colt was probably ticked off in the moment. If you're out of the points chase and you see a red plate, uh, you know, there's nothing that you're supposed to do by the rule book, but I think common etiquette for racers, at least I can say this being a supercross racer, is that you don't let the guy with the red plate go by, but you certainly don't brake check him and try to take him out or anything weird like that. Jet didn't try to take him out, but he definitely played with him for a little too long, I think. And I'm sure any of the racers would agree with that. And you could tell Colt wanted to go, but he just had to be really careful with how he did it because he didn't want to put himself on the ground. This flat turn before the finish was terrible. No fun. Turn like that is no fun for the racers at all. There's not much that you can do. Leaves you really susceptible to getting slammed for really no reason. See, like right here is just kind of where it was fun to watch, I guess, especially for a casual fan that doesn't know really what they're looking for. Um, but as a racer, being Colt, I would imagine he's like, "What the heck, dude? Just let me buy you already." And I'm sure a lot of you guys will argue that in the comments, but like I said, I'm the one out there racing. I know how the pros think, um, and I'm very familiar with the etiquette, being that I've been pro for 10 years. So this is another thing. Like, it's good racing. I mean, good for Jet for trying, I guess, But seeing the red plate and Jet no longer being in the points, you just got to be a little bit careful. That table over two was fun, but the face of that thing was so rutted, and the landing was really rutted, so you had to be careful. That three in was pretty much make or break. You can see just Jet pulled away about 2 seconds in that section just from going three in. So you can see Colt going all the way out, but he's able to double in, and then where he gains the time, and he didn't even really, was going on off. You can drive across the top and oof. Okay, so what Colt did there was super smart for anyone that knows what they're looking for. This was pretty obvious, especially based on what Jet did to pass him back prior, which is Colt has the line on the inside. At this point, you kind of know, okay, especially since he just did it a couple laps before, he's going to try to square me up, which you can see right here. Jet is already trying to square him up. So all you do is, being Colt on the inside, is you just hit the brakes for a second so that when Jet tries to square up, he has nowhere to go. Jet was actually lucky that he didn't crash here. For Colt, exactly what I would have done, being on the inside, you control that turn. Um, that's exactly what you would need to do. So smart move there. No surprise that he knew to do that. 2-2-3-3. So what they just did was my primary rhythm, just because their corner was so rutted in the 450s that it was really, really hard to triple in there. I only did it, I think, once the entire day. All right, 450 main. Now this is where a lot of the drama happened. A lot of Barsha doing Barsha things tonight. So what he did in that first turn even is, if I was Cinderella, I would have been a little bit angry. But that allowed Roxon to get right up to the inside. So that actually saved Roxon, because if that hadn't happened, that would have put Roxon into third instead of first right here. Roxon's so good on these initial laps, just trying to get away a little bit. And the gap, the reason why they lap riders so quickly is because look at the gap. Roxon's going over the finish line. So right here, when Roxon goes over the finish line, last place is barely starting the long rhythm. So they're already, not even a half lap in, already 12 seconds behind just because of the traffic jam that's caused. So obviously last place in the main event is a super high level rider, but with traffic jam, you're just going to get stuck behind. Now this is where things got a little weird. Now, Barsha said that he wasn't able to get to his break in time. I like Barsha, by the way, and everything I'm going to say is completely objective. Now, this isn't the first lap. I don't even think this is the second lap. This is lap 4 or 5. Roxon was taking this line, and so wasn't every other guy, which was outside kind of squaring up and coming down inside of the ruts. Because if you can see my clicker right behind where the scoreboard is, there's 2 deep ruts on the outside. Everyone was going out and kind of squaring down coming in. So Barsha knew that Roxon was taking that because he did it for 4 laps in a row. For Barsha to square up and aim that direction, there's only one thing that he had in mind, and it was to at the very least scare the crap out of Roxon. I think he just had too much speed. Like when you're coming at somebody and they're exiting the corner, that's never really a good thing. Roxon's lucky he didn't get hurt or break his foot or break something on the bike. I mean, that was dirty, which is fine. Dirty things happen sometimes, but that was dirty. Now, the talk of the 450 class lately, like I was just mentioning, is lappers. Keep in mind, guys, this is tight Supercross. There's one or two fast lines. It is very, very difficult to ride your own race and to get out of the way. Even when you're trying your hardest to get out of the way, it's still easy to get in somebody's way. I experience this all the time with in time qualifying when you're trying to dodge people and stay out of their way in time qualifying, because sometimes the fast line could be all the way left and then all the way right. So what do you do at that point? Just ride down the center of the track? It can be really confusing. And for these lappers, so Roxon's coming up on, that's Chisholm. Chisholm's probably in, my guess would be 16th, 17th place. Riding a good race. Chisholm's riding hard. He's in 18th. He's going at a good pace. He's kind of by himself. He's got Bloss apparently right behind him, but I don't see him. So the problem is when you start letting up, then you have the top 1 through 20 that come by you. So it's just really, really, it's just a tough situation to be in for anybody. I didn't watch the 450 main yet. I saw highlights, but let's just see if they show the incident with Barsha going down, because that would be interesting. I'll be able to explain to you guys what's happening there. All right, I think it's all happening right now with Barsha right behind these guys. Let's see if they flash to it. Yep, they're on the ground. Okay, so let's see how much they show of this. It's really hard to make a complete decision without seeing the two turns before this. I know everyone's keen to just hop on Vince Freezy's butt, but what a lot of people don't realize is how good of a rider Freezy is and how good he's been lately, doing his best to stay out of the leader's way and not take anybody out. Yeah, he used to for sure have a reputation of being dirty. I haven't seen him intentionally take anybody out in a while. Now, right here, okay. Is he cross-jumping Barsha? No. The reason I say no is because every single rider, and you can see whoever's on the yellow bike is that Enticknap in front of them. Look at where Enticknap's going. The far left on that triple was basically the only place you could jump it. So what I would say, two things here. Now, what I will say here is that, let's see if they show it from a different angle. What Freezy could have done best would have been to take the inside in this corner here and roll this step up and then double the triple or roll the triple on the far rider's right. Now, that's what I would have done, because I would have been like, okay, I know what's happening. I know everybody's jumping this thing to the far left, so let's get the heck out of the way, stay to the far right. Now, on Barsha's decision-making here, I would have never in a million years done what Barsha was trying to do. Just based on the way Freezy took the corner before this, it was apparent that Freezy was going to go to that main line and follow Enticknap. Barsha tried to go around the left of him, where if you watch where Enticknap takes off on that triple. His foot peg is skimming the tough block. That's where Freezy was trying to go. So what room does that leave Barsha? That doesn't leave Barsha any room. So, should Freezy have checked up and stayed to the right prior to this? Yes. Should Barsha have tried to jump to his left here? Absolutely not. And then Tomac going to the main line, just poor guy, had nowhere to go. And it was too late for him to make any change prior to that. And we find ourselves in another last lap, Ken Roczen, Cooper Webb. I will say Roczen is an absolute beast. His riding is on par with as good as it's ever been in his career. If he could work on anything at all, and nobody's a perfect rider, it's that when it comes down to these last two laps and he has somebody right on him, you can tell that his mental game shifts to, instead of focusing on his lines and attacking ahead and, going about his race, he goes into like salvage mode and tries to not mess up and just get the race over with. And you can tell by little mistakes. So watch, he comes out of this turn, his outside foot comes off, so he messes up that double. I'm pretty sure he kind of screws up this turn. He's a little hesitant in that turn just to be sure he triples in. And then watch, he gets cross-threaded in this rhythm a little bit. and then he makes it happen. But holy cow, like he let Webb get way closer than Webb should have ever got. But Roczen is riding unreal right now. But all of this is also giving Webb confidence. So I think this is going to be interesting. It's going to come down, barring any injuries, it's going to come down to I would guess Roczen and Webb in this championship. If you guys have any questions moving forward, if you have more questions about this race, I know I left out a million things. I just wanted to go over a couple of the big talking points from the night, and I'm going to try to do this moving forward if I can as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Patreon channel. Link will be below. Only $2 a month, and you can be a part of a community of riders that have access to me 24 hours a day. I respond to everybody on there, and they can talk among themselves. I put out content that is only for the group of Patreon members. Pretty awesome. And I will see you guys in my next video coming out tomorrow, I believe. So thanks, guys.